The NJUSA. Hello from Monterey, California, Texas, UK, Germany, Houston, San Francisco, South Africa. South Africa's got the distance thing built. That's far away. Let me turn my phone off. Ooh, is there anything interesting in here? I'm sure there's a lot. So many things. Some things I wish I could share. We're going to talk about them on how they get hacked. So some of the things that are on this phone right now, they're for tomorrow's show. It's not secret. I just got to figure out. We had a doctor just to close it up. And this is not mine to release. This is stuff that it's up to Xavier if he wants to share. But it's some stupid going on in here for some, just dumb things. Dumb things. There we go. All right, let's get started. Oh, look, someone emailed me back. And, hey, why not talk about this? So this is, this is literally, I just learned this, and I'll share this with you. Sales call, sales comes in. So, and they think after reading, I'm out of their price range, which is fine. This is not the first time. They're asking for they're a medical place, and maybe they're watching this, I don't know, but this is just being honest. They're a medical place that contacted us, they happen to be local, and one of the things they said was, after further examination of your website, I think you're out of our price range. My prices are public. We are charging $150 an hour, and this is one of the problems. They asked for some very technical MSP stuff, but they also, what's our hourly rate? And I'm dealing with another company that just says I'm overcharging, and I'm like, I'm booking at it. If the market determines, not me, the market determines if I'm overcharging. If you charge $1,000 an hour, I don't care what you charge, so market will determine your worth. That's kind of how the system works. And we're charging more than some of the other people, but the other side of that is some of the other people aren't good, and it's really, really subjective. We are doing we just, so to speak, lost a bid, but I wouldn't comply with them. And I just was so the IT guy's awesome. He's not the one at fault for any of this, in case he happens to be watching, and we explained this to him, as he felt bad about it. And I said, no, don't feel bad. It's your boss's fault. He worked for a place. We did cleanup work because they had some morons wire it. We cleaned up the mess that the morons wired. And I just have no other way to describe this disaster in a new building as morons wiring and turned into a disaster at the new building. At the end, too, the description they were handed of their wiring, their map, was a piece of paper that had gotten wet and had penciled in locations to where they did all the wiring drops, and that said that was their only copy. They lost the digital version that they started with. So we cleaned up the wiring. IT person moves to a new company because that company, he got tired of it, wanted to grow, moves to another company. Brings us in to evaluate. It's a big wiring disaster again. Shocking, right? And nothing is working right. So he wants prices on cleanup, and they bought the building next door and wanted to wire it. But they really wanted us to match the guy who made the disaster on this other building. They wanted to match his price. He was half the price of us. I'm like, call him. What am I supposed to do about it, man? This guy, I'm sorry, if you want actual quality work. This person, then the medical person replied, is asking for, we need help with compliance. We need help with network monitoring of all the computers, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of in-depth technical stuff. We can do all that, but you're not going to find some guy doing it you probably will, but not a good job for $50 an hour. Sorry. That's not going to be us. And this is one of those things that we run into, we run into all the time. It kind of drives me a little bit crazy. But then again, we look at all these breaches, and frequently you can answer the breach question with lowest bidder all the time on, why didn't they have good security? Lowest bidder. Man, I just had, we just dealt with a system that caught on fire because they didn't want to use us for the camera system. They wanted to go with someone else because he was 1/4 the price of us. We weren't even in the ballpark, they said. And we do IT work for the customer, but they just couldn't believe what we would charge to put cameras in. And the system, in the most literal sense, I'm not talking about fig tree, like literally caught fire with this weird off-branded PoE system they had, and it stunk up the whole building because it's a small office and the HVAC room is shared with there. So when it burned up, the smell went in there and they made them think the whole building was on fire. No, real danger from it. It just smoked on the inside. Some smoke, the magic smoke all came out and stunk up the office. And they had us because they couldn't get a hold of the camera guy. We come out there and we're like, yeah, this is what was on fire. So we took it and threw it outside. They had to call the camera guy. He finally came back after a week and installed a new one. I'm just like, yeah, lowest bidder. Okay. Oh, man, fun. Oh, Norway. We got Norway. Redford. I assume you mean Redford, Michigan. Awesome. New Jersey again. Another few New Jersey people here. You can have a watch party in New Jersey. Yeah, $150 an hour is super reasonable for Michigan rates. I personally am $200 an hour if they want me specifically. So that's the thing. But let's see. Starting my own company right now. You're going great for a friend. Hey, awesome. I'm glad you are. I'm sorry I can't say your name. AGDKK. Awesome. Glad I could help. Hello from New York City. I'm holding in my hand this. Let's see if it'll focus on it. Who knows what I'm holding here? Damn it. Focus, focus, focus. I guess if I hold it like this, it'll focus. Hey, look at that. Because guess what Tom was doing? This is actually what the thumbnail's about. I was doing some. Do I charge my wife $200 an hour? Yes. More. She has to pay more. She has to book time in my scheduling. So, yes. I was dealing with, by coincidence, tomorrow I'm supposed to go deal with some more POTS lines, which I don't really have an interest in doing. Well, I'm not doing it. I'm sending someone to do it. But you get the idea that you would think these things would go away, and they have not gone away. They still exist. So it's just like, But PBX solutions, this is one of those things. This is also back to being a one-off type problem. So doing PBX work, I contract Chris from Crosstalk. Might have heard of the guy, maybe seen a couple of his videos. But I contracted Chris to help me with the phone project. Why? Because we had to use this weird system called, and maybe I'll do a video about this, but it's called the Vega Gateway. I'm gonna see if Chris did a video on it because he's the one who knows about it. But it's one of the solutions that worked out. Maybe me and Chris should do a video together. Maybe I'll reach out to him on this. But Chris helped me configure the Vega Gateway because there was all kinds of like DTMF tuning and things like that. So it's one of the unmentioned things that I wanted to bring up about this because someone asked the question, well, how many people work for you? And they go, well, how do you do projects if you only got 6 people here? I use contractors a lot. And you just build trust with people. You build relationships with other companies. Right now, I'm working with another company that's contracting us for a piece of expertise so we can work on a big project. But the vice versa happens. They have a good team that can do stuff that we don't do. So you work out these different relationships so you kind of have people on call. And it's just one of those, things you work out, and Chris is an expert when it comes to phone systems. It's not worth my time for this one-off customer to learn a whole Vega DTMF signal toning problem and how to trace it out and how to tune, because when we first had it set up, the DTMF tones weren't working properly. I don't know why. I mean, I'm sure if I spent enough time on Google and forums, I could figure it out, or I contracted Chris and he sets it up for a fee. And I can then flat fee that. I say, Chris, how much to set this up? He goes, I know how to set those up. He gives me a price. I put a percentage up on that price. We mark it up to the customer. Done. Delivered. I made money. Chris made money. Everybody in the pipeline's happy. That's the way it should work. PBX versus PBX. I worked at PBX forever ago. My last actual PBX work was on a Nortel Meridian system. I still remember a couple of the commands, but most of them have fallen out of my head and fallen into obscurity. But I did the whole setup on all of that. It's not something I really want to do anymore. I'm fine if that stuff to die and everyone moved to SIP. But occasionally we have clients, we do all their IT. They have special use cases where they require this. The one we're doing tomorrow, special use case. Satellite offices here in Michigan, remote offices in Texas. They're old school thinking. They don't believe in things like 4G. Apparently that's too fancy for them. They have a POTS line they pay for, and they have dial-in backup they need set up. So they can remotely administer down fiber lines. We're good enough for fiber lines, but 4G, that stuff's a little bit too tricky for us. So this is not uncommon either. We've got more companies we set up like this, that there's literally still old US robotics modems with literal dial-in to get to the terminal on the Cisco box for the fiber. Yeah. Yes, it's still a 2019 thing. Anyways, it's a lot of fun. If you go back, see the POTS lines. Anyways, looks like you're... Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yes, thumbnail is a Vega 4x4 analog gateway. You are correct. Do you ever get audiovisual work as security, or do you accept it, shy of avoiding trying to do everything? No, I don't. Matter of fact, that's what we're working with right now is a company that specializes. I know different people in AV. We start working with another company locally that does it. They specialize in it, and that's what I'm looking for is someone that, see, I know a lot of people that do things, but I don't think I can refer them because they're not good at the things they do. They may do that, but I don't badmouth people. I just kind of, if I am uncertain for one, or if I am certain that they do a bad job, either way, I don't refer them. And there's some companies I know aren't good at it. This other company I'm starting to do, we're still working on some details, but they do a lot of AV stuff. We're going to be complementary with network engineering with them. It's just not any type of, other than an agreement between the companies, there's not a merger, there's nothing like that going on, but this is just how we use contractors. It's easier to keep us independent. It's difficult to merge companies together because then there's tons of redundancies and things like that. So that's not really on the horizon at all for this, but that's how we work with other contractors, just like I do with Chris. I just don't feel like I can do basic stuff with free PBX, but Chris does advanced things with free PBX. We don't have enough of it, and most phone stuff is set it and forget it. A lot of times you set the phone systems and people don't change them other than changing your voicemail once in a while and maybe move an extension. There's very little change. So it's worth my time to pay Chris to build out a kit with a phone system. He does them all the time because he specializes in it, and then we just deploy them to the client and everybody wins. Let's see. Wendell says he'd do a collab. I don't know what to collab with him about. I like Wendell a lot, and I've hung out with him the last 2 Penguin Cons. He comes up here for Penguin Con. Wendell's awesome. I just don't know what to do a collab with him about. The same thing. I like the Linux Gamer Gardner. I've tweeted back and forth on Twitter with him a couple times. Super nice guy. I just don't know what to do a collab with. It's easier for me to collab with Xavier. It's harder for me to collab with some of the other people because I just don't know what to do. So if you have suggestions of what video you would like to see a collaboration about, then it'd be interesting. Don't get me wrong. Wendell's awesome just to hang out with. Hell, I'll drive down to his place. He's only about, I guess he is about 6 hours from here, but whatever. He's a quick Tesla trip away. Is my travel time same as my regular rate? We were just discussing that because we hardly ever charge travel time because we just say no to faraway customers. I'm just trying to decide if that's the right thing to do, and that's one of the challenges is we're trying to figure out, there's a lot of lost opportunity. I got kind of aggravated, customer, they were willing to pay for me to come out, and I didn't charge them travel time, but I'm also agitated because me going out there, another job that wanted a book says, hey, can you squeeze in this time? I would have made the same sitting in my office, but now I've actually put miles and me sitting in traffic because I didn't hit them for drive time, and I lost, because traffic was so bad, I lost an extra half hour in traffic. Most of our clients are 15 miles from us, but we're going to start just zoning it out and saying, to go here costs this. Here's our rate sheet, and we're going to publicly put it on our website. If you are far away, the challenge isn't really the mileage. It's all about the time. The time it takes from right here, Southgate, Michigan, so we are 15 miles south of Detroit proper. For me to go to 30 miles north, for example, could take well over an hour because of traffic. To go 30 miles south is half an hour because there's no traffic. So where are you located dramatically changes how much I'm going to be charging. So we're just going to start sticking some rates and publish it on my website and be like, this is our rates to come to these. If you're within, the 10-mile radius, we don't charge you for drive time. Once you go beyond that, we do. Yeah, Chris is faster than me too, so fun stuff. Do you do over-the-phone support? Someone's calling me. They can cut that down. Do I do over-the-phone support? We do. Most of our, 90% of our billing is remote, if not more. That's just how the majority of the stuff we do. So I've seen someone, you asked if I do phone support. So I think, are you asking phone remote? I don't know the question. Yeah, you can spend your time only once, and time is money. Absolutely. Those are really huge issues right there. The reason we don't really do the travel time as much is because, if I was in NYC, if you're in New York City, man, it's an hour to get anywhere in New York City. I was just there a couple months ago. It's tragic. The traffic's bad. Where we are in the suburbs here, you could take my customers and draw a very, and I have a video about this. I think I calculated it using a tool called Map-A-List. And of the 300 plus businesses that we do, or maybe even 400 businesses that we're doing some type of IT work for, they're all within 10 miles of my office, maybe 20 miles of my office for all of them. They're all short distances. So I built my business based on that, so it was never a big deal. And when we're charging a little bit more than the other people for the area, that kind of made up for the drive time for going out there. But our rate for on-site is different than we have different rates versus on-site versus remote. Plus, remote's always a minimum of 1 hour. Even if I went out there and just plugged something in, you still get billed for the full hour. So we try to do everything we can remotely. If someone across the country asking help with the phone to set everything up, would you do that? Go on our website. We have it. We do remote support. That's 90% of my billing is remote support. That's how we do things. You go to our contact page, you contact us. We remote support whatever you need and set up things. That's most of what we do at Lawrence Systems anymore. We have a lot of remote access to businesses. All of our anyone on managed, of course, we have remote support. Managed clients get the priority, and we have them scheduled all the time. But yeah, we do. You can book us for remote support. The general technician rates are $150 an hour, $200 an hour for me. If you want to book me, that's on our website. It's published. That is our prices as of right now. Whatever today's date is, August of 2019. So, well, let's see. We use Screen Connect, so that's our go-to tool for remote access. It's on our website. There's no secrets there about it. Oh, it's called ConnectWise Control. We bought it back when it was Screen Connect, 5 or 6 years ago. They got bought by ConnectWise, and they changed the product name to ConnectWise Control. It's still called Screen Connect to us. We are out of the country. Yeah, I just did a job over in Switzerland. We redid a whole network in Switzerland. Went great. We have no problem doing out of the country work. The only thing I don't do out of the country, and I get a ton of requests for that, yes, self-hosted plan for ConnectWise Control. One of the things that we won't do is I get a ton of requests. Hey, I'm in insert some crazy country that has super restrictive filters and blocks everything like WhatsApp and everything else. I want to get around the country's filtering. Sorry, I just don't do those jobs. So if you're thinking about messaging me about that, skip it. I just tell them no. I do reply. We just say no. Outdoor UniFi access points. User manual says use shielded grounded cable. Why is this required? I was planning on connecting directly to my switch, PoE via UTP. Grounded cable is for lightning strikes to hopefully any ambient electricity goes to the grounded shielded part and you do it properly. It's what they recommend, wink and a nod. If you want to do it, you can run it without it. You can completely run it with normal cable. It will work, but shielded is for grounding reasons because there's a shielding in it and there's like a ground. If you look up that type of cable, you'll see the difference. It will work without it. So all depends on just how good you want to do it. Hello from New Zealand. We have not done any work in New Zealand, but we've done work in Australia a few times. So we did work with your neighbors. Oh, let's see. I bill for the first hour no matter what, then 15 minutes thereafter. Yeah, we bill by 15 minutes. On site, it's hour by hour. Always a minimum 1 hour, but yeah. Server plan, I guess. I don't know what the question is. Have you been to India? No, I have not. Not been to India. Matter of fact, I've never left the country with the exception of Canada, my neighbors. Only country I left is because Canada's only a couple. I can see Canada almost from my office. So I can if I put my drone up high enough, I can see it. Canada's only a couple miles from us. We're on the border. The river is 4 miles away that divides Michigan from Canada. FYI, if you didn't know. Let's see. Mesh Central instead of Screen Connect for remote because it's open source, self-hosted, built on Node.js. Yeah, has it been vetted before I turn over? Because I know Screen Connect's been well vetted. Has it gone through code review, code audit? Has it been really viewed? Just because it's open source doesn't mean it's secure. Until something goes through some vetting, for example, OpenVPN, until someone really pokes at it, I'm not ready to turn over our enterprise clients with a system that could potentially be compromised from a flaw and then have a problem at scale. So that's my reason for not using Mesh Central yet. To my knowledge, unless you can prove me wrong, it has not been vetted. It has not had a security team vet the code. And I don't mean it's wonderful because the code's open source, but I mean a company go through and do this. For example, I use Keybase. Keybase went through an entire code vetting. That code vetting cost them 6 figures. I talked about it not that long ago, and I think we had it on either How They Get Hacked. Either way, I know I tweeted it, but going through the whole code audit and finding and having security researchers really focus on your product, major difference. They found problems, they fixed those problems. Even though the stuff is open source, you want someone to go through it. Just because it's there, unless someone who's really talented at finding bugs goes through it, I'm not ready to switch to something like Mesh Central. What's the best way course to establish? The Linux Foundation has courses that will teach you how to do stuff. That's one way to do it. So let's see. Do you bid on government contracts? No, we mostly avoid them. They're generally slow pay and a headache to deal with, so we don't always do government contracts. They're not always terrible. It's just not our niche. They're very political, and I don't like playing a political game. Did you see Ubiquiti released a cloud hosting for UNS? Yeah, that's cool if they did that. Netgate SG5100, good product, use it. Let's see. Hello from Ireland, love your content. MSP there. Hello, MSP from Ireland. Top of the morning to you, or is it afternoon? I don't know. One of my staff is Irish. He visits there. He's been there a few times. He's left the country more times than me, and he's younger than me. Yeah, outside cabling, you should use a surge protector. Yep. When you do work in other countries, do you contract out as well, or do you send some of your staff? We all remote. No one has want to pay for flying me out to other countries. So that's if someone really wanted to fly me out there, they're going to fly me. I don't have any trusted contractors in other countries at the moment. Let's see. How much do you charge to teach me how to set up your pfSense for business? My rate's on there, $200 an hour. Let's see. You should be military government contracts, plenty of money, and they still don't expect much. Yeah, except for all the politics involved in getting some of them. Besides price, Zen Server, I have a whole comparison between Zen Server and ESXi. There's also a comparison on their website. Type in Zen Server ESXi. If you don't find my video, you'll find the video. You'll find the documentation there. So, thank you, Adam French, sending over some money. Looks like some British pounds. That makes me happy. Money from the Queen. Light video dropped with Chris from Crosstalks. Awesome. Yes, that was fun. I didn't do anything technical there. I just was there to hang out. I think I've known Chris for 2 years. It's the first time I met him in person. I like Chris a lot. We've talked a lot. Matter of fact, Chris was one of the people messaging me a couple minutes ago. Oh, let's see. At the time when you got Screen Connected, it cost $2,500 to host it yourself. It was something like that. I don't remember. I bought it 5 years ago, and I would have to do some digging to find a price. I think back then it was like $1,800. I want to say it was less than $2,000. But yeah, it was expensive. They're not cheap for Screen Connect. BGP over CARP for redundancy? Nope. I'm not a big expert on BGP. That is something, if someone needs BGP, I outsource it. Thank you, Alonzo Smith. Awesome. Keep throwing them $5 at me. That's some good beer money, guys. I don't know what OVM is. Have you used Cumulus Linux? Nope, I have not. I was there for the beer at the racetrack. That is absolutely true. The conversations we had and laughing about some of the craziness and talking tech and just BS, and we had a great time. Even at the track, we had a good time looking at. I like race cars. I like cars, so that was all good to me. Sarah Steinbrecher, thanks for the honest answer. What was at the time when you got screen connected cost? Yeah, no problem. I mean, I don't know how relevant it is what I did pay for it, because I don't think they'll say, but Tom said it was this much. I will say I'm happy with the product still, and I have no sponsorship, affiliation, offer link. We just use it, and the reason we keep renewing the license is because it works really, really well. And I know a lot of people use it. I know the amount of scrutiny. I've talked to security people who have vetted it. It's a solid product, and no flaw has been found in it. And trust me, I know someone who specifically was working hard to find a flaw in it. So they go through code review. I've actually met some of the dev team when I was at an event a couple years ago. So hopefully that's helpful, Sarah. When you use your MVR with network cameras, other than Ubiquiti product software, do you set up a Linux machine to run a certain application on it? No. Oracle virtual machine? Never. Are you talking about? I don't know. I've never used Oracle virtual machine, so I have no answer for that. We've really been pushing Synology. I have a few more videos to edit that are going to be some Synology solutions that we've deployed for camera systems that are working. They've been working for a while. I just got to catch up on some of those project videos. They take a lot longer to do, so even though I filmed some of them, I haven't had a chance to publish any of them yet. So, yeah, I'm not a big Oracle fan. I don't think Larry Ellis is a nice human being. So, any alternative to the Zen Orchestra Premium backup? Blah blah blah. Just go ahead and compile it. If you compile it yourself, you can run the full version. Thank you, Carlos Aguirrela here. I'm sorry if I said your name. I'm terrible at names. Thank you, Carlos, for the $10. Do you find feature creep with Screen Connect for RMM using SolarWinds other than things? Endpoint content filtering mentioned. I don't understand feature creep. They're not. I don't understand it as a question, Chris Shaw. I'd love to help you, but I don't know what you mean feature creep. They keep adding features. They creep in more features. Sorry if I'm misconstruing your question here. VirtualBox is cool. Got a video on it. I do like VirtualBox. I still use that from time to time. I know it had not had our card done, but I really enjoyed the Caden Live information. I mostly use the editor once a year, so a few basic footage. Now I have to boot into Windows side. So I have a video that I did 3 times that I had to scrap the 3rd time. First 2 times are from disruptions and things that came up. The 3rd time is because I didn't realize how bad my nose was bothering me, and I was heavy breathing more, and it bothers me because I edited a Caden Live getting started video and it got goofed up. I did that just before I started live stream. I was super aggravated. It was not up to par, so now I have to re-record a 30-minute video. So that's the thing. So I do have another Caden Live video that maybe I'll finish after the live stream here. Have you attempted to attach external storage and NAS to the Cloud Keygen? It's a hacky way you can do it. I don't know when they're going to get official support. So, Synology is awesome. Been using products for a while. Yep. Matter of fact, I don't know how much I can disclose. But let's just say Let's Encrypt works well with Synology, and I will tell you that maybe even a Let's Encrypt engineer was logged into my system as I let them do a whole demo on it. We're going to see if I can do a video on it too. So that's kind of cool. I have a friend who directly works for Let's Encrypt, and we let him borrow our Synology to do all the Let's Encrypt stuff. And it turns out he did all the testing with the latest version. So when you see the update for your Let's Encrypt, I know the person who wrote some of the code, and he used one of the boxes behind me to do it. How many cameras at 1084K do you think can run per Ethernet port, assuming 1 gig connection? There's different calculations for that. You can find a calculator even on Synology site. A lot. When you think about the fact that you can have Netflix 4K streaming, which is higher definition than even a camera usually streams at because it's more frames per second, and look at how little that stream uses. So use that as a base reference. If I can stream HD Netflix 30 frames a second or HD 4K 60 frames a second, Netflix has a bandwidth calculator. Use that to extrapolate how much data you think you'll need on there. Aren't Synology systems use minimum camera setups, meaning you probably shouldn't deploy more than like 10 cameras on it? Let me put it this way. Hyatt Regency uses Synology. Heard of them? A little hotel chain? You know, maybe even the largest hotel chain in the world. They use it. There's a lot of places. Yeah, heavy breathing. Thanks, Kyle. So Synologies do scale, but you have to buy the bigger Synology. The little tiny Synology back there, don't run it on that. That would be bad. You buy a big Synology if you want to run more than 10 or lots of cameras. So pfSense multicast across VLANs in order to get Sonos to work on an isolated network. That would be cool. Sonoses are stupid. Anytime someone asks me to help them, after trying to help with one, we decided we're never helping with it again. They just have issues streaming. Don't put them on a separate network or don't use them. Those are kind of the options. I don't know. They were working and broke. That's what I've heard from more than one person, and I'm just like, don't care enough. Thank you, Joshua Talley, throwing me $1. That's a dollar taco time, man. Let's see. Yeah, Synology has some really nice high-end equipment. They're known for being the small company that makes these little boxes you see behind me. They are also have some bigger boxes, so they're got some pretty cool stuff. They're not bad at all. So definitely a nice product. Do you guys like the chat being at the bottom here? Is that helpful in any measurable way? I'm assuming you can see that. Looks like it's showing up on the composited live stream. I got to pull up some documents for you guys because I actually see I was going to talk about something here. Co-managed IT. So I got to find that page. If Kyle can message me that page, that would be something else I can talk about. And then I got to find, hold on. Oh, that's not it. Is it? Is it shared drive? Looking for the files I should have pulled up ahead of time, but I was aggravated because of my heavy breathing in a video. Hey, look at this. Woohoo! Answer a few more questions real quick while that loads. Let's see. Hey, did you try VDI on XCP-NG? Yeah, I'm getting a whole bunch of new stuff coming for XCP-NG. Thank you, Ivo, for $10 craft beer money. $10 is definitely towards that craft beer money. It's ultra tiny on my TV. All right, so it's blurry. Wow, okay, so lots of problems with it. I can always eliminate it. I'll work on that. I'm not sure how to make that right. I still got some tuning to do. It was on my to-do list, but good on tablet, bad on PC. Okay. Let's see here. And YouTube does have I'm trying to overlay it, but yeah, it's easier to do the interactive. This is just supposed to be an overlay, but we're trying to work on the CSS to get it right. Got it. Okay, we'll work on an overlay. Favorite craft beer? Dragon's Milk was probably up there. Voodoo Ranger and Dragon's Milk are my two favorites, but Dirty Bastard, that's a good one too. I got to reach out and do a video with the Craft Computing. I like some of his videos too. Router on a stick or layer 3 switch inter VLAN routing. Well, one you're going to get a lot more bandwidth with, so the good and bad. So if you do something, like let's say we take and do router on a stick. Cool, you have one centralized place you're controlling all the rules. Where life gets confusing is walking into an undocumented environment, seeing a wonderful, high-end switch that supports layer 3 routing, but not having the password to it, and then trying to mystery solve where all the ports go and why suddenly, despite no rules being visible in the firewall, it somehow magically routes over here. So layer 3 routing is good as long as it's documented and there's a use case for it. The downside is when we have a company with 8 switches, and each one has different layer 3 rules between different ports and different networks, you create some mysteries. I don't mind it, and there's use cases for it, but the downside is getting the documentation. So if it's a network you wholly own and manage, and you understood where all the rules are, and you document that on the 3rd floor there's a switch that has inner VLAN routing and layer 3 routing rules that move this data to here, cool, do it right there. Matter of fact, one of the reasons you do things like that is so you can have really fast routing without burdening everything back over to the router and having to route everything back. The 2 segments may be hitting this, and it can inter-route between the same switch, and that's awesome without having to go through more steps. So that's the time you would want to do layer 3 routing, but make sure you document it, because we've done so many takeovers from undocumented, and there's just random traffic going places. Finding that when they've done random rules on switches and you don't have the logins to switches sometimes means we have to just start resetting it and then sorting out why the network doesn't work anymore and figuring out what rules need to be put back in place. The one advantage you have when you put it all in a router, for example, like pfSense, I can do rules at a glance. All the rules that govern the behavior of this network are in one place, easily readable. So, but the downside is, if I have 2 people in building A, the firewall is in building B where the head end is, and I need routing, they have to route all the way over to here. pfSense follows the rules and sends it all the way back. That may not be ideal. Therefore, you may want layer 3 switches, because if there's a choke point, you want the routing to happen internally and all in building A without going all the way to building B. So there's 2 different use cases for how you want to do that. Hopefully that, Gabriel, that helps. So thank you for the question. It is a very good question, though. What is my experience with Dell Sonicwall? If they went out of business today, I wouldn't miss them at all. That's my opinion. Sonicwalls are just an aggravation. There's nothing good about Sonicwall. I've always found them to be a buggy thing. I've watched people rage about them in forums, and they're like, I pay for support with these people, and the support is terrible, blah, blah, blah. I see this common thing constantly, and I know they burned a lot of bridges when they were sniping contracts from people and bypassing the people who sold them for renewals. That happened a couple of years ago. There's just nothing I ever hear good about Sonicwall. I may not be a big fan of Meraki and their pricing model, but I will tell you, a lot of people tell me their support has been top notch. So you get, I don't think that Meraki makes a bad product, but Sonicwall, on the other hand, is just a headache product. Least favorite networking equipment to work with? Old WatchGuard and certainly Sonicwall. Today, out of our 1,200 sites of UniFi equipment, we had an AP fail, 48 port switch due to a power surge. What an interesting day. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, lack of documentation is always such a pain in the butt. What do you recommend for documentation of multiple networks being from multiple clients? We just document it. Sometimes it's easier just to write it up, just in a form. People overthink the hell out of stuff and try to draw everything. We'll draw some of it, and if there's some basic connections, but there's just some basic tools you need. Visio is a good one, popular tool out there. DIA, if you're on Linux, is diagram. We've done some of our diagrams in that. It's easy enough. Yeah, super dislike Sonicwall. I think the only thing good about them is, their marketing's good. That's how they Checkpoint. I haven't used Checkpoint in a while. Do you know the last server you bought and where did you get it from? Do you remember? Tech Supply Direct. There's an offer code to get you 10% off on Tech Supply Direct. Works well. Yeah, Meraki, like I said, the people I know, we've moved a lot of people away from Meraki. Matter of fact, I just got off the phone yesterday with a big dealer who sells Meraki, UniFi, a lot of other networking gear, huge supplier, B2B supplier, and they said their fastest growing market by leaps and bounds has been UniFi, and it's because some of these people, we helped a school district save $20,000 every year in Meraki license fees, and they're really thrilled now that they moved to UniFi. Like, they just said they were expanding the school, and they seen the path. If we double the size of the school, we double our Meraki bill. We don't want to do that. Yeah, so do you have a preference of hardware firewall outside of open source world? I'm not really, I guess Untangle for people who want some of those types of solutions. So Untangle's pretty good, which is open source, but some of the fees are paid. So that's my preference, but we work with all kinds of stuff. And we've even worked with Meraki. So Meraki license to the minute. I see the net, yeah. So I use OBS open source on my Linux one, and this is Streamlabs OBS that this is actually being recorded on in Windows right now. Yeah, use our offer code for Sarah Steinbecker. Go to our website, and we have an offer code for Tech Supply Direct. Get you 10% off your server purchases. They've been great to work with. I have a whole bunch more videos. It's just a timing thing of getting them all out. But we're going to be doing we're probably going to do this as a project. We realize we need to run fiber over here for part of the video, because the server that's sitting here, we want all connected at 10 gig for the video demos, and therefore I don't have a fiber line running to my studio. So we're going to run some fiber to the studio and get some of that done. What do I think of Ubiquiti routers? They work, but they lack any features. I need to do a comparison video soon, because I've been hoping, and everyone assumes that because 2 years ago I said these are all the features of Ubiquiti, they assume 2 years later Ubiquiti got around to adding features. Don't get me wrong, I think they have a solid product. I just wish their routers had features. People always message me wanting to do things that go beyond the scope of what the USG is able to do, for example. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know when they're going to ever add this feature. Even Willie Howe, he did a video called "The Things I Wish UniFi Would Add to Their Routers." That was last year. It's a popular video he did. And like he said, he knows, like I do, he's met we've emailed back and forth with UniFi people. They just don't have a roadmap for when they're going to get cool features added. They've got good hardware, but their routers are just bland, like lacking a lot of depth. But for basic routing functions, they work great. They're actually, and we haven't had any fail, they're actually pretty reliable. We have a few of them out in the field. So that's been a good thing. Why is people blowing up my phone all of a sudden? Why do people keep calling me? Probably the same people again. They're gonna have to wait. Cool. All right. They confirm via email. I always tell people, go ahead and just send me an email on that. I know they're calling over and over again probably to confirm something, but they sent me an email to confirm it, and I just replied. So that's a little thing that drives me nuts. Like, look, email, it works. I reply. I reply to a lot of emails. That's actually a big part of my day, is replying to emails. Way better than phone calls. Phone calls only allow me to focus on a single person at a time. So when I'm doing a phone call, I'm hoping it's billable, because I'm not doing anything else when I'm on the phone. Dead Meraki. Yeah, there's a way you can load different things on some of the Meraki hardware too. I have seen people talk about it. I've never tried. So edge routers, same thing. Edge routers is like, and what people get upset about is everything with the edge routers bust out the command line, and it's all hand configured from the command line. That's fine if you want to learn it. You want to read through the documentation and learn the command line for the edge router, go ahead. You're like, hey, how do I set up OpenVPN? Oh, go to the command line, load the packages, run through all the settings. Hope an update doesn't break that JSON file you just had to hand edit to set everything up manually. And I don't see the advantage of doing it that way. I'm a command line person, but at some point, I kind of like how the wizard works inside of pfSense for the OpenVPN. And Willie sent some good videos on how to get some of the things working in the edge router, but you look at how many steps it is, it's not easy. So that's one of those things. I don't know when they're going to get around to making a UI that allows you to do that. So edge router's not bad, but comes back to it doesn't have the features that pfSense makes a couple clicks away for you. And by the way, the edge routers are not open source, so there's that as well. I don't know of any security problems. They are built on a Linux OS, but still. Yeah, UNMS, that's the whole thing. UNMS, cool for monitoring, bad for configuration. Oh, good for backups, for backing up configs, but not. It just doesn't have all the features that it can have. It's nothing like the whole UniFi software. The UNMS is not the same. So, someone's calling me to tell me that I'm on YouTube Live. Could be. There are things that Meraki can do. There is some really advanced stuff that Meraki has that goes above and beyond what some of the UniFi can do. But I had someone, this is a perfect comparison. There's a good discussion I seen on Reddit about this. They were complaining, going, hey, why can't, why can't UniFi have something like Cisco DNA? But then there's a good discussion on the whole Cisco DNA and just how expensive it is. And someone's like, well, I want this whole Cisco DNA thing. But when people look at the price of it, they're like, whoa, that is expensive. I'm like, yeah, the DNA, you're talking, it's a 6-figure investment for software plus licensing. But it is an advanced feature. If you wanted that level, like the whole Cisco DNA platform is pretty impressive. But it's $100,000. Some of the, when you set this up in these networks, the licensing on it is really, really high. So there are reasons to use it, but you have to have a use case for all that data. Gabriel Graves, thank you. Have you used NetBox for network documentation? Nope, I have not. Not even looked into it. What is NetBox? We'll actually look at it. Let's look at it together. What is NetBox? NetBox is an open source web application designed to help document computer networks, internally conceived network, blah, blah, blah. Neat. Network monitors, radius server, design philosophy. Okay. Installing. Looks like there's a lot to it. What is it pretty? Does it look really nice? Maybe I'll look at this. I don't know. I'm still cool. I see that it's actively developed, but I don't see much in terms of, is there a better explainer? Like, does it make pretty maps? Screenshots. Oh. Yeah, you know what? I have seen this before. I haven't found, when like doing rack setups, I've just put them in spreadsheets because I thought it was easier. So, I mean, this is cool. I don't know. It goes back to overthinking it sometimes. I don't know. Maybe it's a good product. Maybe I'm completely wrong about this. I'll never rule out that I'm wrong and willing to change my mind. It looks cool though. I mean, it's not the bigger part of my day is spent doing any of that. Lots of stuff hidden in the GUI on the edge router. Yeah, there's all kinds of little stuff in it, but it's, yeah, I don't know. Command line. Yeah, today luckily we're moving away from all command line stuff, especially SD-WAN. Yeah, I mean, there's times to use it, there's times to not. So, do you have Zyxel? We actually have a couple clients that have those. They're not broken. Ain't broke, don't fix it. They seem to work. I haven't had any problems with them. I don't find them to be the most advanced systems. They're kind of basic, but they work. They remind me a little. They have a weird kind of interface because the way they nest everything down. I don't think their interface is laid out as well as it could be. My problem I have with IT Glue, and I brought this up before. I see people talk about IT Glue. You have now entrusted all of your client documents to someone who can see their passwords. I generally roll back from companies that can hold my passwords because now I have entrusted them with all my documentations and passwords. I feel as though they are a strong company that has a lot of good audits going on. Still makes me a little nervous because they are still holding all the passwords visibly. They can be seen by the internal team at IT Glue. That's a little, I know they're logging, I know they're auditing, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they didn't put things in place, but you can see the fact that they're holding all your documentation and passwords. That bothers me a little bit about IT Glue. I don't know. That's my feeling on it. I know all my security friends feel exactly the same way about it. Like, that's interesting. It's a giant, I mean, obviously they're a big company that's not had an incident. And then you have like this whole, target where we know people are actively, undoubtedly attacking their systems 24/7 because, well, they hold the keys to many, many kingdoms. That is a giant, just like a bank vault. That's why people are after it. But it worries me about that as a company. Like, it's nothing against them. It's just my own personal preference, as long as I can avoid using something like that. And I think SolarWinds, I've seen someone ask about SolarWinds Passportal. I think they have the same thing where they can see the passwords too. I am not clear because a salesperson I talked to, maybe it was just, I don't know, in passing, he didn't think it was a zero trust system. I'm like, well, if it's not, and one of my goals is to work on, I have an idea for a product, I just got to get some funding for it and the right developers together to build a zero trust type system like that. There's a way that it can be done. I have a good idea how to do it, so yeah. What else do we have? Morning from Australia. So it is morning. Top of the morning in Australia. I would buy a cloud key before I'd try to run it on a Pi. It's hacky to run it on a Pi, not impossible, but yeah. Syslog and that. Look at Zabbix. I have a Zabbix video. Pi-hole, I just use PF Sense with PF Blocker instead of a Pi-hole. If you don't have PF Sense, then build a Pi-hole. I've heard good things about Ruckus, but I don't know. I've not used them. We have nobody with Ruckus right now, oddly enough. I don't know that they're good or bad. I don't know much about them. If you go with UniFi, go UniFi. Let's see. I talked SolarWinds today. They can't see the password unless you make notes within the password within SolarWinds. That's interesting. I have to learn more about how their zero trust model works. SolarWinds as a MSP SolarWinds is a company that bought everybody. That's why they're confusing. They're not a company. They're a conglomerate of purchases that is now become SolarWinds. Is that probably a best way to describe it? I don't know. Now I have a couple people leaving voicemails. Who leaves me voicemails? They're going to have to wait. Anyways. Before I get too sure, I got distracted with voicemails. Anyways. Yeah, SolarWinds is, I don't know. They are what they are, but they're simple once you get used to dealing with them. No company's perfect, and my favorite thing is whenever I see someone switching in any of the tech forums, whether it's in Reddit or on Facebook, it's like, oh, screw these guys, I'm going with these guys. I'm like, oh, who do you want to disappoint you today? None of them are perfect. There's just nothing else you can do on there, so yeah. Oh, Pit PC, throw me your GitHub or message me your GitHub if you want me to talk about it, or tag me in a tweet with the GitHub for the open source thing for there. I'm willing to fund, and by the way, when I say fund and find developers, my goal at the end is it's going to be open source. So when I ask for funding, it's going to be put open source and have a business model of offering hosting as an option on there. Because it's zero trust, I won't mind hosting it, but my goal is to make one that's fully open source. So yeah, SolarWinds, GFI, MSP. If you've been around long enough in the SolarWinds, you remember them being called Hound Dog before GFI bought Hound Dog. That was one of the first ones. So, we left Datto for Veeam. I've heard okay things about Veeam. Any news report on downsizing the house? Nope. We haven't gotten around to the house stuff. I'm still working on all that. My backyard is still a mess. We haven't got it for sale ready. And because spring is a better time to sell, I'll probably wait because I'll get more money selling it in spring. So, take a look at Cloudberry too, because Cloudberry's got some really good solid solutions for backup. They're really nice because you pay once for the software. They're actually a software company that doesn't sell everything as a licensed service. But let me know on the open source thing. Like I said, I'm willing to, because I get it, especially when you're doing open source, the challenge is, hey, this is a hobby. I have a day job because this doesn't pay. I'm willing to throw money at the developer to make this happen in some way, or put more development teams on it and do it all open source. I don't have a problem doing that. Syslog hosting as a service? I don't really see that as sellable, but if you do, maybe I'm missing the market on that. Let's talk about something I came here to talk about. Here is a generic company logo here, and generic, let me see if I can zoom this in a little, make it easier to read. So where do you do that? Show document outline, no. Can you just say mode, suggesting viewing editing? Well, I thought you could zoom in on this. I know you can. I'm just not smart when it comes to this because I never have to zoom it in. I'm trying to zoom it in for YouTube. But I have a link to this. And here what I'll do is let's go to forums.lawrencesystems.com. And we'll drop the link right here because I've already, whoops, I probably should put more in there than that. MSP contract. Look at that. Here we go. So you guys can all see it together. And I'm unaware of any good open source MSP software. Anyways, you guys can all download this as a PDF, but I wanted to do this. This is kind of the generic template that you can put together that just has some basic stuff on here, so you can start expanding on it. It talks about what the fees are. You should have a signature for someone in charge with a date and signature. Put the person's name right here. I just put someone in charge. Kind of get an idea, but this is one of those things that's pretty basic, but it gets this is what you want to be able to give to the people when you do a proposal for them, something that's not overly complicated. Where I've seen some MSP agreements, I can't make heads or tails of them. I'm a tech. So we frequently, and this happens, someone dropped off a sales sheet. We looked at the sales sheet. I'm like, I'm on page 7, scratching my head going, I'm not sure are you getting a mortgage here? Some people make it really complicated. We try to make it as plain English as possible, making it really easy. And that's why, here it is, MSP, no prices, contract template. And you can tell me I'm wrong and that I'm missing all this stuff. And I can tell you that I've got plenty of monthly recurring revenue coming in from people using even less than this when we started. This is expanded from some of the contracts that we've previously done with people. It's just one of those things I think people just go crazy overthinking some of it. But I dropped it in the links here. I'll add it to the show notes to where people can actually see this particular thing. But yeah. What else is there a question here? So, you don't want to host syslog, lots of traffic depending on the size of your environment. Yeah, trying to host syslog externally would be like, MSP contracts can be absolute garbage. Yeah, that's true. And I think people just start throwing everything in there, and it's sometimes what's inhibitive to your sales process is if it's so complicated, it's hard for you to explain or hard for your client to understand. They're going to be suspicious. That's just kind of the nature of it. And it's going to be like anything that's an impediment, anything that slows down the sales process, you need to stop and think about. You need to go, okay, how is this slowing down my sales process? Is it something I should even have in here? You have to think about that all the time is what are the friction points of getting the sale closed? If the friction point is you're so complicated, you don't have a product offering, or you talk over the client's head, I see this a lot, because you're also speaking in a complicated manner to them and talking about how you're going to get really in-depth with the filtering stuff. Like, no, we're going to protect it. Don't overthink any of that and make it a lot simpler. Yeah, it's all about best efforts. I think I have that phrasing in here as well. That's an important aspect of it. It's time management. It's what do we hear? Microsoft Patch Management, antivirus software, daily updates, and web filtering. We customize this if there's anything more. I just put active cybersecurity monitoring. If someone wanted to have more depth to that or required it, I would. If there's something specific we're doing for a specific client, that's why these contracts are each customized to the client. And we'll implicitly list things that are not supported. I have in here things that we don't do, which is going to be the cost of software licensing or software renewal or upgrade fees of any kind will be billed accordingly or can be paid purchasely direct from the client. We can add something under that. Insert, like they use QuickBooks. I'm not responsible for your QuickBook license fees. Those are yours. If I am responsible for them, then we'll take care of them. But I will go a step further if we have to and implicitly list, like, hey, this isn't covered. Like when QuickBooks renewal comes up, that's your problem or my problem, but it's going to be decided now because that's the thing that comes up. Or support that comes up. We have a couple clients that use some really specialized software for their carpet management stuff. That's not covered. That's extra and beyond because the software is bad. And it needs help sometimes when it has updates. It's not easy to do. It's not like one-click installs, so it goes above and beyond. We either work it into the price and say we're going to cover it, or we implicitly list that you're going to get a bill when we have to update that software. It's not part of maintaining your computer system. That bottom line right here is real important, and it's a highlight I do. It says, I should be looking at it this way. Data restoration is not included. If data restoration is required, standard billing rates apply. That's important. I will back up your data. I have a fee for that. I do not include restoration because that's a big wild card number. And a lot of things can, you have a building fire, you have a flood. We've had clients, a few times we've had floods. Data restoration is kind of a wild card. It's going to be billed at whatever it takes to get your data back and put back. So we do bill that as a separate thing. That's one of the important things I do have highlighted in here. Out of scope billable service rates, see Appendix A. You will update Appendix A according to the client as we're, ongoing, as needed, monthly. When do you do these hot fixes? As per client policy. You keep these generally, workstation antivirus scans and virus removal ongoing. So we're doing that all the time. We're keeping it up to date. These are just the things: firewall updates, wireless firmware updates, other network infrastructure updates. There's a T in here. So you guys have to fix typos. I may not have fixed typos in this one. But anyways, my goal is to have something that's easy for you guys to get started with, customize it to each client, and use it as a sales tool. Hey, thanks for a tip about TextPly Direct and your link. I customized the system. 2 10-core, 3 gigahertz RAM, 1 SSD, 4 terabyte. Awesome. Yeah, it saves, and then you save another $300 off there. Just like you said, Sarah, there's a lot you could do to save it. Matter of fact, sometimes we buy these servers that are slightly used like this, and we'll buy a pair of them. It's cheaper, and it gives them the failover redundancy they're looking for to have a hot spare on site for stuff. So there's some great deals on some of that. Yeah, it's all about giving back. We can all work together to make this better. So... yes, and what Kyle said, I have Zabbix videos. You can find them on there where I talk about some of that stuff. All right, what else was in my title here? PBX, MSP contract, co-managed IT. Kyle, can you send me a link, and I'll just drop, oh, maybe he already did. Oh, LTS Kyle, let me check. Hey, look, he did. This is cool. This is how the sausage is made. This is the getting stiff sitting here too long. This is work in progress. So if you find the typos, good for you. There's probably still more of them in there. It's not worded right, and this is not official yet. But this is some of the co-managed IT, the verbiage we're writing for it. And, tell me if this sounds good. Co-managed IT services are a blended approach to helping you solve your problems by offering our expertise to help you better manage your IT department or your IT services company. Unlike a traditional MSP agreement where Lawrence Systems would work directly with the end users, our co-managed IT plans have us reporting directly to you. I'm pointing at the camera. What we offer is more than just enterprise monitoring tools and proactive response analysis and support. We are offering assistance with special projects such as server upgrades, network upgrades, or any other technology consulting you may need. We do all this while remaining invisible to your end users because we want you to be the first point of contact. And literally, I don't want your users calling me for Outlook support. Like, if you can stop that, that would be wonderful. But basically, it's managed services billed per workstation, per server, per month. We have a rate. You can mark it up. I don't care if you charge 10 times what I charge. We're going to give you a rate to do this. You can email me. I'm not going to say the rates now because someone will try to hold me to it, and we're still working out the details. But I have some general rates in a sheet that I send people who contact me. But yeah, it's this whole basic co-managed plan, and we just want to help some of these other people out in getting into starting it out. So this is the work in progress for the co-managed IT that we're slowly rolling out. We got a couple people we're doing with it. It's been going really well. We've been tuning things. We realized we needed to add some cost to it, but you get us. We're trying to decide what the seat minimums are. I'm thinking 4. There's just too much effort that goes into setting up each control panel and each client, so you at least have to have 4 workstations before we're willing to do this. And someone may point out, but can I just go SolarWinds Direct? Go ahead. I'm not stopping you. But if you're looking for someone else to babysit because you're a one-person IT person and you want someone else to manage all that, we're managing a bunch of computers in there anyways, so mark the fees up. outsource to us, make a few dollars on it, and someone else can handle some of the back end stuff. So it's up to you. It's not like we're if you want to know if I'm cheaper than SolarWinds, absolutely not. It's going to be a whole lot cheaper to go SolarWinds direct because you're getting people. The people are what the price is. All the markup is the people watching the back end, not the SolarWinds, by the way. Way cheaper just to go SolarWinds direct. So if that's your price comparison, what do you compare to SolarWinds? Don't bother. What else we got in here? Love to see some videos on on-site installs. I'd love to do more videos on on-site installs. They're not always easy to do. Just privacy concern and rules and things like that. I was at two places. I had to sign an NDA for where I was yesterday. I signed the NDA in the double doors. That's actually how I can see their lobby, but I can't get in. They had really good security. I had to sign an NDA, put my signature on it. In the little double door area, you walk in the first door, sign the NDA. Then I can go through the lobby, and after I'm in the lobby, I'm greeted with the security person who has to get my badge printed, and then I have to put a special badge on and a lanyard on there, not just stickers on the shirt, and then you can only be escorted through the building. Let me just say they're not going to let me use my camera. So that's definitely a thing. What is your go-to Wi-Fi mesh camera for office and I like Wi-Fi go-to Wi-Fi mesh system. I'm sorry, I said camera. I don't care for mesh that much. I've heard good things about the Amplify system. Never used it though. Amplify is the home user system that UniFi makes. It looks pretty cool. One day I'll do it. I'll test it. I don't know. Maybe someone from UniFi is listening and they'll mail me one. I don't mind doing a review on it. It looks like a pretty cool product that we like to recommend to home users. But UniFi, if you go through the whole trouble of setting up, not that it's much trouble, but if you set up the whole UniFi system, they mesh really well together. Like we've done some UAP HDs and then some of the nanos as mesh, and they work wonderful for that. Didn't realize there was a term for this called co-managed IT. There is indeed a term called co-managed IT. It's basically where, it's funny, it's one of those things, we've been doing it for a while. The school districts we work for, they have staffed IT people. They don't have enough staffed IT people for special projects. We come in for special projects. We come in to help with something or a task or a portion of it. We don't deal with the teachers. We don't deal with any of the students at all. That's what their IT department does. We come in and help with the specialized parts of the project, putting in site-to-site systems, adding camera systems, server upgrades, one-off work. So that is a co-managed relationship. We have other times when you have an internal IT team. We have a company we do this for. They have an internal staffed IT team, but we do all the monitoring and things like that because they would like us to do it. They're dealing with so much end-user support, they don't have time to look at the other stuff. That's what co-managed IT is all about. And they don't want to deal with licenses and renewals and everything else. That's why they outsource that level to us. It's common. Secure communication is a combination of Signal and Keybase. Favorite password manager? I still use LastPass. Ain't broke, don't fix it. LastPass works good. It's gone through code review, code audit, pretty solid product. Bitwarden would be a second runner-up if for some reason you hate LastPass. I've heard good things about Bitwarden, never used it, can't vet for it, but it has been vetted, it has been security audited. Can I run pfSense and FreeNAS on one CPU through a VM? It's possible. I don't know how good it performed, but it's possible. Would rather pull some cables and avoid cross-channel noise. Never give UniFi SolarWinds managed for remote access, MDM software, apps install, patching. Cool. Deploy Amplify system, tons of residential. So I've heard good things. So Kyle here says Amplify is a good product. I don't know Kyle, but he says it's good. I've heard good things about them. Maybe one day, like I said, I'll test them, things like that. So I'm testing Microsoft Hyper-V Server 2019 Core virtualization for my clients. The reason is that is a license-free OS. I don't know how good it is. Good luck with it. How much RAM? As much RAM as you can get in there. You need a lot of RAM to run that. So we've covered the co-managed IT. We covered NetBox. What else do we got to cover here? So NetBox looks kind of cool, but novel. There's the managed agreement. And I'll throw this out here too, back to the forums over here. I post a lot in the forums. So if we go here, do I click on my name? Is that how this works? I could be doing something bad. Oh, look at all the posts from Tom. And why am I bringing this up? I reply. I don't think you can find a day I didn't reply. Like every day I'm in here, once or twice a day, I go through and answer all the questions that I can find in here, unless the questions make absolutely no sense. There is at least one person who's asking a question today that I just don't understand. Anyways, why do I bring this up? I reply and try to do all the messages I can, and this is the open place to discuss things. Where is not the open place? DMing me repeatedly on Twitter asking questions about pfSense. I usually just ignore those people, or I just send you a link to the forums with no other reply. It's because I get that many DMs on Twitter. I get a lot of emails from people, and thank you for emailing, but emailing is focused bandwidth for me, and you're not sharing. You're saying, hey, if somebody started, I don't want to hire you. Oh, then I don't want to reply. I'm just going to reply with our forum link. If you have, and a lot of them are basic questions like, should I get an SG3100? I sometimes will reply yes, a lot of times I reply with a forum link, but if you want to have an active discussion, I'm all for it. That's why I have forums. I don't mind going through, and me or many other people, thank you very much for all the active participants in my forums. My forums do not cost money. Someone says they want to be able to post without registering, and I'm like, no, that turns into 4chan, and it just, everything goes wrong and awful. Sorry you have to register. I don't ask for anything more than an email address for registration, but I don't send emails to you, and you can set up some random Proton mail if you want. I'm fine with that. I'm not collecting your email for any purposes. So, yeah. For those of you that may have seen that message on the bottom, oops, I'm going to switch the screen right here. Not a big deal. It wasn't anything bad, but I know what it's regarding. I'll see how much Xavier wants to talk about this tomorrow. It's some stupid that he's dealing with some corporate companies. It's up to him. It's stuff that's not necessarily for public consumption at the moment. It's definitely funny, though. Go to WireGuard's cool for VPN. TOTP for multi-factor. I'm going to catch up on the questions real quick here. TOTP, my favorite multi-factor. I think everything should use TOTP. I have a whole video on it. It's open source and open protocol. Any thoughts on WireGuard? WireGuard's cool. When it becomes mainstream, it'll be great. It's not mainstream, so it's not great. PBX, please. I don't know. PBX, cool. I don't know. Is that a question? We got Dorokus, $5. How hard is it to set up 2 free PBXs, for example, for 192.168.30 and 40 with one public IP? Not hard. Why would you set up 2 be on the same network? I'm not clear as to why, because you can actually split one PBX to do all of it. You would just have to figure out all the port mappings and shuffle everything around. So it's not impossible to do. It's just a matter of you can't share ports, but free PBX will allow you to switch around all the ports. The bigger question is, why would you put 2 of them behind one IP? You can actually have one phone number ring one greeting, another phone number ring another greeting, have a whole separate sets of extensions. There's ways to really modify a single PBX to do it. So hopefully that helps the question there. So does that make sense? Hopefully it does. Do it all in the one PBX to make your life simpler. If you have to split it, you can. You just got to change all the ports to any external ports you may need. You're just going to have to make sure that they don't conflict. So it's just a lot more work. But you can change all the default ports, so that's an awesome feature. Site survey, iPerf. Yeah, I usually use iPerf testing. That's just easier. There's so many gimmicks out there that are supposed to be good. We just went in a place that had paid for an expensive site survey. They came in and installed the network, and it still didn't work right. We came in and found dead spots by setting up a real Wi-Fi and said, oh, look, here's a dead spot. And we added more Wi-Fi and solved the problem. Yeah, Duo's not a bad system. I like Duo. Oh, yeah, that's right. You need Windows Admin Center to manage the Hyper-V thing. Microsoft's licensing model is confusing on how it's free, but all these features are locked out, but it's still free, but you have to do everything from the command line or something. I don't know. I just pass on it. XCP&G, fully open source, well documented. I have a lot of videos on it, and they have great documentation, great forums, great support, and just works. So much less trouble in my opinion. What do you hear? Let's see. Splunk for logging. I never used it. I've heard it works. Free PBX HA is a completely different animal than setting up two different ports. HA is a failover mode that is supported by Free PBX. But to my knowledge, it's a licensed module. It is not free to my knowledge. You have to pay for it. And it may be even better to put Free PBX in a HA cluster. If you have a client that needs HA that bad, maybe build an HA cluster. They probably have other things in their HA cluster, like a whole hypervisor HA system. They probably, if the phone system is that critical, something else probably is. Run it all in the same stack. Solves the problem. Nope, Suricata is not for everybody. We do not use it on every single client. Would you ever set up that? If they got the budget, we will. I mean, if you got the budget, sure, set up a whole F5 network system. It's about budget when it comes to that. I mean, you can have someone have full monitoring, full everything. Do they have the budget for it? That's really what that comes down to. That's expensive. That's what these bigger companies that run whole NOC teams at their place just have people watching, the network operations center, and they're monitoring everything with full packet decryption. When you think about this from a cost standpoint, a NOC engineer makes about $60,000-$70,000 a year just being a NOC engineer. And if you want a place staffed with at least 2 NOC engineers 24/7, there's a few $100,000 a year before you ever touch the hardware. So that's just in employee expenses before you got into it. Do I know companies doing it? Yeah, I got friends that actually do that work, but it's for the big guys that can afford it. And by the way, some of these companies the big guys have it, and still things get through. Citrix had it. Citrix was pwned for almost 6 months, if not longer. So anyways, yeah, Graylog is interesting. I've looked at it, not really used it. So you don't need to pay for anything, and you can do most of it in a web GUI. Okay, so they've added a web GUI. I just don't use Hyper-V, so less interested in it. So ran free PBX on a VMware once, had huge issues with audio. If you don't have your stack set up right, you will have issues with it. That is, yeah. Yeah, NOC is a lot of fun. There's a lot of people that like doing it. So it's something you can do. It's just a matter of budgets. And that's how most of this comes down to. Comes down to budget. I'm going to reply to this other person who emailed me about this medical place. They said they wanted full stack security monitoring, but they think 150 an hour is way too expensive. I mean, if someone tells me they're going to do full security auditing, PCI compliance and everything, but they're only going to charge you $50 an hour, I don't know that they're really doing you a favor. Let's see. Prefer ESXi over Hyper-V. Whatever your preference is. I like XCP-NG, but we do consulting. We've done a bunch of FreeNAS work for a guy that's using all ESXi servers. Works great. So it's not, we'll do whatever one. We just did a data center job that is all ESXi on the back end. That's what they like. I don't have a problem with it. I've worked with it. We built out the whole network engineering side of it and everything else, and it works great. We put in pfSense HA in the front end, redundant switches. Each one of the ESXi servers has redundant connections, so one goes to each switch, which then lands on each one of the pfSenses. It's a larger, more complicated setup, and people ask why we can't do on-site. You can't even bring a camera in the data center, so they're not going to let me take pictures of any of that. Hackers are actively attacking a vulnerability in Pulse Secure. I don't use Pulse Secure, so I not really dug into it. So, who's Pulse Secure? And this comes back to the question someone had asked. Let's look this up. Who is Pulse Secure? Let's look at this together. We're going to learn together on this. So, in popular Pulse Secure VPN software, running a critical running blah, 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 blah. Here, let's all be on the same page. This includes authentication bypass. Whoops. Who makes Pulse Secure? August 23rd, honeypots detected. So, Business flaws exploited by hackers. Hackers hit unpatched. So there's somebody, like, who is Pulse Secure their own company? Okay, and Fortinet SSL. See, this is the stupidity of it. And I don't get this. And this is, you ask why I like things like pfSense. pfSense uses completely standard OpenVPN, the vetted, code audited version of OpenVPN. What these other companies do is tweak it around, and I'm willing to bet, and I don't know this for absolute certain, but I'm willing to bet they're using OpenVPN, but they tweak it a little. Let's put our polish on it, because, having a vetted product that is open source might make people think they can't pay massive licensing fees for it. So we put our little sauce on it, and that sauce included some vulnerabilities apparently, and this is, and you just. This is an aggravation, but it'll be worth talking about. Yeah, I've been so busy the last couple of days, I haven't had time to read some of the security news. I started compiling some notes on it. I have a problem with the drivers for my blah blah Dell R710. Any ideas? I don't use Windows, so I don't know. Anytime we have Windows on any of the servers, they're always virtualized. FYI. The Centers for Medicare and Medicare Services Pulse Secure for submitting data. Well, that's nice. Do you use any VPN services? What's that place? I have an offer code. Go to our affiliates page, whatever one's on the affiliate page, the PIA VPN. Couldn't remember their name for a minute. We like PIA, but all you do is kick in the privacy down the road. QoS not working on virtual network adapter. Yeah, I think that's still a true problem. When you virtualize pfSense, I believe there are some QoS issues with certain network cards and certain drivers. There are issues with it. I don't really have an answer for that. We don't do that many virtualized installs of pfSense. It's pretty rare. Almost all of them are hardware. Even what we run hardware here. Even though we have this whole virtual stack, we still run hardware pfSense. Hardware's not that expensive. When you think about it, for $1,000, you can get a 10 gigabit pfSense hardware router, the XG7100. That's 10 gig at that price. You can get something that'll route gigabit for $349. Why should I virtualize it? Like, I don't have, when you build it on NetGate hardware, it works really well, and we don't have problems with it. So why should I spend the extra complexities of virtualizing the stack? It's one extra layer of complexity. So, any ideas for non-radiation? I don't know what that is. I use a Dell R210 for my pfSense. Well, yeah, you can buy, that's a whole nother category right here. Super micro board that runs fine. You can find these 1U, I got a review on it. It's a 1U super micro atom board that will run pfSense, no problem running gigabit on it. And you can find them used on eBay for relatively good prices. The Dell R210 that people are talking about, relatively cheap. You can find them floating around. So there's a lot of different options on that. How would you like us to reach out to you in terms of dev for the project? By forum, by email? Forum? Start an open discussion and, about that. That would be interesting. So, yeah, matter of fact, unless he's left, the person who had mentioned that they are starting an open source GitHub, it's a good start it, say open source IT glue is a good title in my forums, and let anyone who wants to participate in it start posting it on there, put it under the business talk, because I'm willing to talk money on that, and helping some developers get some money and then open sourcing it and posting it out. I'm all for this, so. Yeah, matter of fact, I've done my HA videos for $90. You can buy two Dell R210s and $180 and start building out an HA solution with failover if you're running something that's so critical. Non-reduplication is the proof that you sent something and the proof that you received it. I was wondering if there is a central panel to see all the transactions for our users. Proof you sent what? I don't understand. You need to expand the context of that a bit. Hey, awesome. Thank you for joining. And I do have to go myself pretty soon. Oh, you're asking about like email, like return receipts and emails? Google doesn't do it. Microsoft does, and it's Outlook, I should say, does it, and Google doesn't. So I don't. If both users using Outlook, you can turn the feature on. You can turn on mailbox receipts, but I don't know another better way to answer the question, or don't understand the question. pfSense in a Pi 4? No, not likely. One, it's not written for it, so it's not likely something that you're going to see anytime in the near future. Video about OpenTPC. I don't know what that is. Citrix share file. Yeah, there's some share file services that allow to see that someone viewed or opened a file. That's definitely a thing. So, hey, if someone's feeling ambitious and you want to rewrite everything to work with the Raspberry Pi, have at it. You can build yourself a cool router on a stick or something with a Raspberry Pi, but it takes developers. Because there's not any incentive for the Netgate people to write that and spend hours and hours and hours it takes to do that, I don't expect it to happen. But code is open source. If you decide you would like to write such software, have at it. But until then, yeah. Video on a nice hack. Yes, we are going to be building. I have a whole virtual labs plan. It's just a matter of I'm trying to get everything organized in a way so I can get time to make more videos on it. But that's definitely something I'm going to be doing. Let's see. I bought a Kotam Mini PC and pfSense a few weeks ago. The only thing I say is it's an awesome little router. Software even got a Let's Encrypt working on my local domain. Yeah, those Kotam boxes are pretty cool. The only downside about them is they can be hard to get consistently. Like they're out of stock randomly, so they're not always. I remember people calling me when they were. I mentioned before, and that they were out of stock for like 3 weeks. And that becomes a pain in the butt when you go, hey, I liked it. I want to use the same solution again. Aw, I can't find it. That's the only downside about some of these one-off things, that they can be challenging. And one of the things I like about Netgate, since they came out with the SG3100, is they finally have something that's pretty affordable we can put in a lot of these small businesses. So the SG3100 is our go-to for a lot of small offices for networking. They just work. They're a solid product. Let's see. I think that's all I have for the good of the class here. I mean, I could probably babble on forever, but I won't, because I actually have to probably reply to these voicemails. It's 5:30. There's more messages on my phone. My wife is, I'll drop this. I'm going to drop some knowledge on you here, so let's go and do kit.com. Am I logged into kit.com? I just seen a message for Steve. / whoops, that didn't work. That didn't work. There we go. So let's go here. And we've been working on this for a while, but if you didn't know, I'm going to drop this over here, back into the, where's the live stream at? There we go. Too many things. So if you head over to kit.com and Lawrence Systems, I dropped the link in the live stream here. One of the things that I'm doing is we're putting more and more things together. So, and I'll show you what this looks like on the screen here. This is our network toolkit. I got a studio toolkit. What I'm trying to do is build these kits out to make it easy for you to find all the stuff we like, different tools we use, and I'm going to be doing a review. Matter of fact, I'll hold this up here in a second. Let me go to the main camera again. Yes, this is a whole, that's going to fall out if I do that, so I'll hold it up carefully. This is a whole kit of stuff, and all the stuff, every piece of the stuff in here is, let me pull these out, there we go, is all linked in this kit. And what we're doing is just making it easy for you. If you want to know what are the tools we used, what do you like to use, what is, like the stupid little thing, this Southwire tool is inexpensive, but awesome for punching. It just works really well. The Cable Matters crimp tool for Cat 6, that's pretty cool. These handy little Klein tools. And you can't have enough zip ties. These zip ties are good. These little things of cable management things so you can, when you're routing cables, especially when you're cleaning up under a customer's desk and you just want it to stick to the little cubicle and put the wires somewhere. These little things with the Velcro on to make it easy to get the wires in and out, they're not, this is all a bunch of little stuff, but boy, is it handy to have. And that's why I wanted to put these together, like this little Klein tool. You're looking for an inexpensive RJ45 tester, but one that's also durable. We do have, and we might review some of the $10 one. I would recommend the $10 ones for a home user. It's kind of a one-off, but for a few more dollars, and we'll hit view on Amazon. How much is this thing? It's not that expensive. It's like 50 bucks versus the $20 ones that you can find on there, but they're pretty, this thing is a lot more solid, a lot more durable. It's a basic tester, but gets the idea of whether or not you did the job right. We have more expensive tools we use out in the field, but we're not, for my non-wiring guys, when I just want to check a cable real quick to sort out a problem, some of these basic tools are great to keep in the bag. And that's what this is about, is we put this kind of kit together to make it easy to have links. And all this stuff's going to get linked on the site and everything else on there. So let's see. Mine is running on 8 right now. Yeah. Would you ever design your own network gear? Not likely. It's not my field of expertise. So, hey, ain't $50 in New Zealand. I had a friend that just moved to New Zealand, and I learned everything's really expensive in New Zealand. He was shocked. Well, I think he knew going in there. He just moved from America. He moved from Detroit to New Zealand, and he commented that, he goes, everything costs a lot here. So, I will mention something else. Let me find this, because I want you to make sure you start, because we need to get some encouragement, because he's starting to get bigger on this. So we're going to go find Infinite. So what do we got here? And go back over to here. Xavier finally got the time. He's like, all right, he built a studio. He's building out his YouTube channel. So what I want you guys to do here is, here we go. That is Xavier's channel. And what I'm doing is promoting Xavier. If you haven't followed any of his stuff, he's coming up with some, I told him what to do for some of the videos. Right here, look at this. You guys want some hacking videos? He has a hacking video. How to use zero tier with Burp Suite. This is stuff he does. He hacks stuff. And this is an entire breakdown detail for how he uses zero tier with Parrot Linux and Burp Suite to go through and remotely hack in Burp Suite systems. Like, he gets it in detail. It's a 28-minute video. It's one of the first ones he released. You can see Xavier. I was at his house. He lives by me, and we got this set up. But he's going in depth here how to make this work. So if you want some real hacking videos, he's the real deal. And if I can only produce so much content myself, and that's what he's getting done. You know, he did this here, talking about getting things done. He's starting to do some streams. He's getting his stuff set up. I like all the overlays. Dude, he's trying to top me here. Getting all this set up. He's got all fancy. He's got the DEF CON in the back. So, hey, go subscribe to his channel. That's why I'm throwing this out there, man. It's that. Oh, and also, I only see 39 likes and 203 people, so click the like button. That does help a lot. Thank you very much for everyone who threw money at me. Hopefully, I answered all your questions thoroughly on there. Yeah, good talking. Hey, there's enough room you can like both our channels. And, oh, good, 44 likes. We got up there a little more. So it's slowly getting better. 58 likes. Click that like button. Smash that like button. It helps the YouTube algorithm know that you like my content, and other people should too. But Switzerland's more expensive. I know some of these links, I'm sorry, they're going to be more expensive when you get overseas. I don't know what to do about that. Matter of fact, as I stated earlier, I'm only a couple miles away from Canada. Like, we could drone ship things across the river. It's a really short to get across the river, but my friends on just the other side in Canada are like, yeah, it's a lot more money just to buy some of the tech products. Apparently there's a big markup or something. I don't know what causes it, but it's more money. That's all I know. That's why they like coming here. Yeah, there's whatever custom imports thing. Would you consider putting consumer hardware in? No. And here's my problem with some of the consumer hardware. You can buy, and comparatively speaking, the USG, if you bought a USG with a UniFi, that basic setup right there, just like a $99 USG and a UniFi, and didn't use any more features than the, for example, Nighthawk offered, you would have a probably much faster, better system than the Nighthawk for less money. So it's hard to cost justify the Nighthawk. I haven't looked at the pricing on it, but I want to say it costs the same as what you would get with the UniFi. Granted, there's a little bit more knowledge needed for the UniFi, but the other side of it is it's really inexpensive and works. Same thing goes for the SG1100. It's a $159 box if you wanted all the advanced firewall features. SG1100 plus a UniFi access point. Hold on, let me grab it by its tail. This is not inexpensive. This is a UAP LR, and this is not inexpensive. This is around the, UAP AC LR. This is in the $100 something range. And now you have a super awesome, powerful Wi-Fi, better than a Nighthawk. And by the way, if you're gaming or something like that at home, you probably want to be hardwired anyways. But for not a crazy amount of money, you have something that performs really, really well. Thank you, George Gibson, throwing $20 at me for reporting gift. Awesome. Yeah, even with the OpenWRT firmware, maybe it's better with it, but I don't know where the cost savings comes in when I can get an SG3100 for $159. Well, while we're sitting here, what does the Nighthawk go for? I don't want to be talking out of my butt. Let me, not Nightlight, Nighthawk. No, not Nighthawk router. Router for my friends over in England. And it's made by D-Link. Or Linksys. I don't know. Which one's which? Netgear, Nighthawk, 109. I guess 109 is not bad for an AC1900. I'm not likely to review the product. They probably work, but I don't know much about them. So I can't speak to their quality at all. I can speak to the history of some of the Netgear and D-Link products for having security flaws in them, but then you can, switch over to OpenWRT. Matter of fact, I want to say, if you're looking for inexpensive stuff, OpenWRT, isn't Asus ship some of them with that on there? I want to say Asus had some product lines that did this. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not really reviewing these. I don't know much about them. But I believe Asus had a few models that shipped with it, which is pretty cool. So if you're looking for budget-friendly stuff that still is able to run that, it's probably not bad if you're looking for something that's like, the lowest budget but still works. It's probably not horrible. It'll get the job done. So... do review on Synology routers. If they send me one, there's nothing about the Synology routers that made me go wow at all. They looked very, very basic. Like I thought it was weird they're getting in the router market. I'm kind of like, what are you guys doing? You guys got the Synologies are cool, but what? I just looked at them and nothing about them made me go ooh. They're all like novel. So I don't know if they have AX yet on the UniFi. Oh, someone else says they don't. Yep. Shirts. We got shirts. If you want shirts, go to Teespring and get our shirts. We got a link for that in there. We got all kinds of stuff. Head over to our website, go to our affiliates page, and we have all kinds of things. Go over here, when the page loads, and go to things we love. Is it affiliates we love? And I think there's links to all the different things that you're looking for in here. Google Fi, Netgate, Linode, private internet access, and then towards the bottom here is more things on here. Somewhere is our Teespring, Tech Supply Direct Code, Teespring. So if you click here, I'll drop that in here to the live stream as well. But yeah, that's already in there. Yeah, router market pretty saturated. Let's see. Linksys had OpenWRT installed on the router. Cool. Buy that merch. Yes, thanks, Kyle. I have no interest in talking about MikroTik. I've used them. I find their documentation lackluster. I find them to be a product of, I don't know. They're just, nothing about them impresses me with them. They're cheap. That's the only redeeming quality they have. They do offer a lot of options. You just have to sacrifice your time to learning said options. I know they're popular in a lot of markets like the WISP market. They're cheap. That's their redeeming quality. They're not necessarily a terrible project, but I don't have an interest in learning them. I don't have enough market demand to learn them. Found on PF Sense recognizes the public IP even when WAN is not directly connected. Double NAT. Cool. Yeah, it's probably using something. If it's using dynamic DNS, it's probably just looking at what its IP is. UniFi, yeah, you have to, if you need everything on VLAN 1, I have a few VLAN videos. It needs to all start on VLAN 1 unless you move where management VLAN is. There's ways to do it, but it's more extensive, more work. Yes, more merch. Kyle needs more chicken wings. We just posted the IT Glue open source alternative in the Lawrence Systems forums. If anyone's interested, helping out, that would be great. Let's jump over to the forums. And where are they at? So I thought I had them open. Well, it's easy enough to open them. So we go here. Whoops. Forums. Derp. It's easy to mistype them, too. Forums.lawrencesystems.com. New open source IT Glue alternative. So I will even go ahead and, because I like to put things in the show notes, let's do this. And well, I think I can just drop it in here. So, hey, it's on the forums. There you go. What do you think of MyKey password management? I haven't really dug into it. I've seen it exists. That's what I'm aware of, but I haven't really. I looked at it and shrugged my shoulders. Not sure how I feel about that. I would talk to you guys on Discord, but we still don't have a server created there. I don't. Here's my problem with Discord. I don't have time. My forums are great because the discussions can happen. I see the problems, and I've seen problems they have with Discord servers, trying to keep up with all the Q&A that goes on there because it's done in real time and scrolling back is a pain. So that's why I don't have a Discord channel. It's too much work for me to do all that in real time. So hopefully that helps. Yeah, if you have a mindset that the cheaper is better, that can be a problem, and I just not interested. But thanks again for joining me. I have to run. I got a few things I got to go do. I'll be cranking out videos. I will be fixing that Caden Live video that I trashed 3 times now. Last time with heavy breathing, first 2 times with interruptions. So look for that. Thank you, because I see the 92 likes. So thank of all of you that clicked the like button, and very much thank you for the $73 in chat revenue total here. That is awesome. This is probably my best chat ever when it comes to dollars and cents. So awesome. Oh, just for good work. Awesome. Now we're up to $83, $10 in CHF. So thank you, thank you. Head over to the forums. As you can see, as I proved earlier in this stream, I spend a lot of time in the forums. It is where I will post quite a bit of things on there. So thank you guys again. That template, it's in there. It's in the forums as well. Use it. Do whatever you want. Well, there's no copyright on it. It's all free. It's open source. I didn't even put a license on it. Not that they really think there should be. So if you guys want to copy it, whatever, just I put generic logo. I highly recommend you replace it. Look for typos. Don't assume Tom didn't typo the hell out of things, because I do. My staff will tell you. There's things I'm bad at. 1, words. They get all mixed up when I type. And 2, I'm bad at parking. That's a whole nother conversation. No, my car really needs, Elon, please make auto park, because I park like hell. I just don't pay attention. I will definitely be enjoying a craft beer tonight because I'm finishing up the series Billion, so it's awesome. I'm really excited about that series. I've been watching it. I'm powering through like 2 episodes every single night, sometimes 3 whenever I can get away with it. Oh yeah, How They Got Hacked, its own YouTube channel. Please, tomorrow night, 7 p.m., How They Got Hacked. Well, roughly 7 or 7:30, depending on what time we start. But yes, How They Got Hacked. Go and subscribe to Xavier's channel, so definitely do that. Go to, let me see, did Xavier get some new subscribers? Did we get, I think we got a few here. Oh, cool. Look at this. Look at this. We got a bump. 6 more subscribers. You got a few more. Thank you for everyone that subscribed to Xavier's channel. So that's what I like to see. What was does it tell me what the bump was today? He's gaining a lot every day, 184, 105. So we're watching this go up in real time. That's exciting. So he's going to be, this encourages him to do it. Also over here, How They Got Hacked. Here's that channel. I'll drop it in here real quick for you. It'll be the last thing, and then I'm out of here. I do have to go, or I'll just do that. Billions Rules, man. It's a clever show. That's the How They Got Hacked channel. We're splitting this up in different channels for a couple reasons. It's just I can't create all the content myself. I'm trying to build teams of people that I know are good, like Xavier, that can help create some really awesome content and do it on their own channel. It's too hard if I try to split everything up like with each channel. So I want to, or do it all in one channel. It just becomes too much. So splitting it up, it's a little bit harder from the side of the algorithm that YouTube uses because they favor channels with bigger numbers. But I'm going to do my part to push people towards those other channels to get the numbers up for them because they're good friends and they have great content. So that's the whole thing. Now, if you can get Mo to set up a channel, I'm not going to hold my breath on Mo setting up a channel, but he may guest appear on Xavier's channel. We're going to throw that out there that it might happen. I don't know. Oh my God, the typos. Yes, anyone who's worked internally with me is aware of all the typos. And with that, I bid you farewell. Later. See you next live stream, and thanks.